Hey, deserving listener, it's time to continue our journey with The Bachelor. Listen to your heart. Let's watch the show. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor, and let's see if anything of interest comes out of my face as we watch this show.
Always I like you a lot, we're solid, but Matt moves slow, and I'm the girl who jumps into things very quickly. I just wish I knew where his head was at.
So she's talking about a pursuer-distancer potential relationship between the two of them. She is talking in a way that is very frequently associated with the pursuer side, Rudi and Matt here, where she's saying he likes to take things slow. I'm usually the person who dives into a relationship, and I'm wondering what's going on in his mind. So there's nothing wrong with that experience. It could be a common experience, particularly in the beginning of a relationship, but it does point to insecure attachment, to preoccupied attachment, where because of experiences growing up, you learned that in order to get love, you have to pursue it. You have to actually make other people know, look, I'm chasing you. Make sure that you let me catch you, or I have needs over here. Make sure you pay attention to me. And you also learn that unless you really pay attention to what is going on in a relationship, people are just going to drift away. And so you have to make sure you are hypervigilant about holding on to love. And you have to play your cards right, or else things are going to go wrong. To the distancer part person, they learned through insecure attachments, through traumas early in life and maybe later in life, where they learned it's just like, whoa, I need to avoid other people because getting close to them results in me being hurt. And so I just have a policy of distance. Even in the beginning of a relationship when things are going well and Rudi seems like she really likes me, I have a general policy that I just don't open up, because when I have done that before, I've been really hurt. And so let's see what Matt has to say. Maybe he's more on the secure side. Maybe he's also maybe they're pursuing each other, but at least Rudi is exhibiting a pursuer, preoccupied stance. Let's see what Matt says.
I would like to find a significant other, but I've been through so much. I've been through so many things that make me question everything.
Okay, so that's interesting. He says he's been hurt before. Most of us have been hurt before, right? And his stance, his coping with that hurt, after being hurt in the past, he was probably vulnerable and then was hurt, is to be standoffish, and that's the distancer side of things. Now, that can be a very functional way for a couple to get together. The pursuer-distancer isn't inherently awful. It's how you manage it. How do you take care of each other as the pursuer pursues? So as Rudi pursues Matt, will Matt take care of her, or will he judge her for pursuing? As Matt takes a little bit of time to open up, is she warm and caring about his defenses? Does she care about his need to be a little standoffish at times when he's scared, or does she judge it? Does she attack it? That's the key.
When I was younger, I was super open with my heart and my feelings and wanting that crazy love thing. And then I think over time you get hurt or you have a bad relationship and I'm guarded.
So just more statements from him talking about how he is guarded, he has the walls up because of the pain that he's been through in the past, which again, there's nothing wrong with. It's how do you manage that? And he seems aware of it, which is good. And Rudi seems aware of her tendency to jump in there. Awareness of it is a huge element to being able to manage it well. Because, if Rudi's like, I tend to jump in, and I realize not everyone else is like that. So I have my preference, I'm jumping in, but I have to realize that's kind of particular to me. For him, if he says, I'm guarded because of the past, but I probably shouldn't do it all the time because that's not going to help in building a bond. So it's okay to be that way. It's okay to have those defenses, those knee-jerk reactions. That's normal. But what do we do with it? How do we manage it? Are we aware of it? Do we take responsibility for it? Do we care about other people as they are hurt by our defenses? All that is normal work on building a relationship.
This is so strange.
I really like the girl a lot. I really do. Am I falling in love with Rudi, or do I see that as a possibility? Of course I see that as a possibility. I'm still just a little hesitant to say that I'm falling for her. Even though I might be, I don't know. It's confusing.
So that is a very enlightened thing to say. Can Rudi handle that enlightened thing to say? We'll find out. But for Matt, it's very mature to say that. It's just like, might this be love? I don't know. Might I be falling in love with her? Maybe, but I don't know yet. They barely know each other, by the way. So it's totally rational and differentiated and mature and healthy to recognize that. Now, if he did fall in love head over heels, that would also be healthy. But for him to admit that in the midst of a reality TV show is totally normal. Now, being avoidant attachment style, being guarded attachment style, that will sometimes mean two things. One is that you don't allow yourself to be vulnerable enough to fall in love. And two, if he developed avoidant attachment early in life, then neurologically, he might actually be cut off from his emotional center. This is something that is very true for a lot of avoidant people. And boys are socialized more often than girls to develop this attachment style. So men have a higher rate of this attachment style. A lot of women do too, by the way. But for those who have that attachment style early in life, they learned to cut themselves off from their feelings, not consciously, but subconsciously. So sometimes that means that as an adult, you can't actually access the feelings to know if you're in love or not in love. This is sometimes called a lack of self or lack of connection with your needs, these kinds of things. So that can add to the confusion for people like Matt. I don't know if he lacks that connection. If I was to take a guess based on what we've seen thus far, I would guess that he does have a connection with the self, but he just doesn't know if he's in love or not because it hasn't been enough time. It's totally normal. We have this notion in mainstream American society that when you see each other, it's instant love and you never had any questions and it was just without a doubt right from the start, boom, 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 marriage, and you live the rest of your life together. That can happen and that does happen. But also, plenty of times, often, people meet and they're like, okay, I could see this working. And maybe the third date, it's like, oh, maybe this isn't working. And then the fifth date, you're like, oh, wow, this is working. And then you live the rest of your life together. So that's also one way to do it. Maybe Matt's in that situation. I don't know. So I'm guessing Matt and Rudi are going to get into a conversation around that. How do they take care of each other as he is still like wanting more time and a little guarded, and she is diving in and really chasing him? Can they take care of each other and own their own feelings to potentially build a wonderful relationship? By the way, I can never diagnose from afar. I'm throwing out labels for both of them. I have no idea. I'm only basing it on the very little information that they're showing us, so take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. Also, subscribe, hit the bell below so you get notified, like the video because that's fun, and comment below. Have you been in this dynamic of avoidance and preoccupied? Do you wear your heart and sleeve on your sleeve? Are you guarded, or are you secure, or are you disorganized? Which one are you? And also become a patron on patreon.com, and also subscribe to our podcast. We have over 1,000 episodes. If you want to see all of our episodes, go to our website, psychologyinseattle.com. All the episodes there are there and categorized. So that's fun as well. Today's word is fun.
Darling, I love you.
Darling, I love you.
We will walk together.
We will walk together.
We will laugh together.
We will laugh together.
I want to be with you.
I want to be with you.
And only you.
And only you.
So I get a little teary-eyed watching any wedding or show of love, honestly. I tear up when I have clients that show love to each other in my office. It's a natural thing, I think. And particularly when we see interracial marriages, I'm the result of an interracial marriage. My dad is Japanese American. My mom is European American, or Caucasian, as they often will say. And you just have to think that they must really love each other because to overcome the crap that you have to go through in order to stay in a relationship, sometimes even from your own families, it must mean that you really must love each other. And even in 2020, as I watch what looks to be a middle-aged couple, white guy and what looks to be an African-American woman, you just have to figure, man, you must have really been in love. You must really be in love because of the things that you have to overcome, the BS, the looks, the problems that you have to overcome to be in a relationship together, the own racism that you would have to overcome in your hearts to cross the divide. Some people do that very easily because they don't even, I think my parents are kind of like that when I talk with them about, so what did you think about, the fact that my dad was not white and mom was from this white family, and it's the early 60s, and in some states in the United States, it was illegal for my mom and dad to get married. Illegal. Just think about that. It was illegal for my mom and dad to get married in some states when my parents got married. And so obviously non-law related racism was also at play. And my parents, they just describe it like, well, we just really loved each other. We just knew that we were made for each other. And you're just like, wow, there's just so much respect for that. And so anyway, I see that in them. And I also see it in Bree and what's his name? Chris, right? Chris, yeah. So I have my little cheat sheet over here. They are singing at the wedding. And so anyway, it's just a nice moment. We don't have to always watch dysfunction when we react to these shows, right?
It was really cool to look at the couple, to be like, this could be our future. What we have is real and deep, and I do love this name. Stand by me.
Yeah, get a little teary. Yeah, Bree and Chris seem very uncomplicated in their love for each other. Seems quite genuine, and it's nice to see in these shows people having an uncomplicated attraction and love and unconfused. Who knows if they'll last forever, but it's nice to see, warms the heart.
I always wanted my dad to marry me because he's, an ordained minister, but it's just not a possibility anymore. I've been thinking about my dad a lot through this entire process. My dad passed away 5 years ago, but it would mean the world for me if he could meet Bree, because he would look at us and be very happy. It was actually my best friend from college and my dad who died on the same day. And I called them my 3 a.m. friends, because it's somebody you can wake up at 3 a.m. and roll over and call them, and they'll probably pick up and they'll talk to you as long as they need to. This whole experience has been so hard on both of us.
I love that. Everyone needs 3 a.m. friends. I have my 3 a.m. friends. I hope you have your 3 a.m. friends. It's hard to say that, 3 a.m. friends. It's a variation on something that I always tell people, which is at the end of the day, after you've worked and you've done all the chores and errands and you just want to vent about something, do you have someone to vent to who you could just say anything? I hate my boss. I hate my partner. I hate my parents. I hate whatever. I hate the world. Hate's a strong word. I'm struggling. I'm having a hard time right now. Do you have people that you can talk to? I hope you do. And if you don't, set out to cultivate those relationships. If you find that that is nearly impossible for you, tune into my deep dive. I'm going to do, because I get a lot of questions from people saying like, I don't have people like that in my life. I don't have a 3 a.m. friend. I've never had that. I don't think I ever will. Well, there is a solution to that, and I've worked with clients before on that issue, but it's complex. The solutions on the internet I find to be, and I know a lot of you find them to be very simplistic. So there is a way to help yourself with that, obviously going to therapy. But I want personally to investigate that issue of loneliness so that I fully understand it, so that when I talk about it on the podcast, I can help you as well. Anyway, let's continue watching these lovely people love all over each other.
I'm still trying to figure this whole thing out. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I'm like there yet.
Yeah.
But like I know that I like her. I know that I wake up every day and I'm thinking about her, and I know that when she's upset, I'm upset. I want to make her feel better. So I'm like, I know, like I'm like baby steps. I'm like this. Well,
Yeah,
this means I like
all the
her.
boxes.
Yeah.
So that's interesting in terms of what we were talking about earlier. Is he noticing the signs of love, but because he's cut off for reasons of defensiveness that he needed in the past from knowing the feeling of love, is he saying to himself, well, I'm seeing signs of love, so maybe love is down there. Now, the other question here is, what is love? You know, the alien or the robot says, I understand how to beat you in chess, but tell me, human, what is love? It's a very complicated question. What is love? If you have felt love before, if you've been in love romantically before, then you probably have a way of describing it. But, you know, the descriptions sometimes are different. And how do we know we're talking about the same thing? Is it the elements that he was talking about? That when I wake up in the morning, I'm glad to see her, I'm interested in her, I smile when I see her. When she's sad, I'm sad. I like talking with her, I like rolling around with her in bed. Is that love? What is love? And for some people, it's hard for them to know. And some of you have emailed me about that. You're just like, how do I know if this is love? I feel different from other people. I feel like everyone else is talking about love all the time, and I'm like, I don't think I've ever really felt that, and I don't think I want to feel it. So it's a very complex thing. And all of us, frankly, have the responsibility and the power and the freedom to decide what that means to us. There's no one can impose that on you. So Matt is embarking on a journey. I've worked with clients on this very question. Am I in love right now? And we'll explore that every week for an hour. And you just keep exploring it. You just keep thinking about it. And I'll throw stuff out there, but I'll never impose any ideas. And through that exploration, usually people come to a conclusion. So we'll see if Matt does.
I literally was just like so into you from the very first night.
I felt the same way about you. Once I met you, I knew that there wasn't anyone else in the house that I wanted to connect with. Being here, doing this whole thing, and meeting you has really made me like have to take a look at myself and really realize the things that I truly want to improve on, not only for me, but you're obviously emotionally invested too.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't know how weird it would be to be dating someone and thinking in your mind and in your heart, I might be falling in love with someone. This might be the person I marry and spend the rest of my life with. We have kids, we have grandkids and great-grandkids, and have all sorts of trials and tribulations together as the beginning of my relationship. And I'm being filmed, and I have to perform music, and this is going to be on what, Kat? And this is going to be on international television. Does my hair look okay? Is my beard looking funny? I just can't imagine how hard that would be. Having said all that, he comes across like he has some performative personality tendencies. There's a number of hypotheses that I would develop if I was to work with him. If he were to come to me and say, I'm having trouble in relationships. Well, the different hypotheses that I would have would be, one, his performative, my idea of my judgment or my assessment of him as being performative. What do I mean by that? He doesn't seem to be genuine. It's the opposite of authenticity and genuineness, that he seems to be acting in a certain way. So the different hypotheses would be this. One is that he just comes across that way. Some people have resting B face, and even though they're not that way. When I was a kid, people would actually accuse me of that. They thought I had resting intimidation face when I was like 6 years old. And I was like, well, that's not how I feel on the inside. I wonder why people are misinterpreting me. It's just you have resting something face. And so maybe he has resting performative face. It's totally possible. Another possibility is that he doesn't really know who he is on the inside. He's not really connected with that. And so, but he knows through experience that he has needs. He feels some need to connect with other people. There are needs going on down there, but he's not connected with that because he wasn't raised in a way in which gave him the ability to really connect with that part of himself. And so he tries to come across as authentic because he knows other people want that, but it's not really from a truly authentic place. There were previous conversations between the two of them that were kind of like that when she confronted him about his past infidelity in a previous relationship. You know, he said the right things. He comes across with limited information. Plus, my judgment, totally just through my lens, who knows, maybe no one else shares this point of view. He comes across as someone who is putting on a performance. I'm not saying he's narcissistic. That is absolutely almost the opposite of what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's trying to trick her. I'm not saying he's trying to manipulate her. I'm saying that if that were true, if there was a performance there, it's because he knows that deep down he needs love, but he has a hard time getting in touch with his true self so that he can actually communicate it. The other possibility is that he believes that if he is his true self, that she won't love him, and he has to put on an act of the perfect boyfriend. This is sort of, I sometimes call this like the good boy syndrome, where it's just like, okay, I'm going to be a good boy. Where because of the way you were raised growing up, you learned that you needed to be a good boy growing up. Jamie, on the other hand, comes across as extremely genuine to me in my lens. If you notice the way she acts, she just seems to be, the things that she says and the expressions on her face seem to really reveal what's going on inside of her. So now sometimes the actors on these shows end up watching these videos, which I never intended, because when I first started these reaction videos, I was a very small YouTuber and no one was watching me. So Trevor, if you're watching, I am not saying that you are a fake person. For the love of God. My cat is agreeing with me. Right, cat? We like Trevor. Right? Trevor's a good person. What I'm saying is that there's something about that I want to explore with him.
I have only said the L word to like literally 2 other people in my life outside of my family, and I take that word more seriously and sacred than any other word. And before I say that to someone, like I want them to know that I mean it.
Okay, so that seemed genuine enough to me. I could still see the hypothesis being upheld, but that seemed genuine.
I'm just really proud of you, and I couldn't have done this whole thing without you.
I haven't felt this way about someone in so long.
I will call that performative. Maybe there's a better word for it, of like restrained on some level, like some blockage between one's spontaneity. Maybe that's a better way to put it, is that his spontaneity, his true self, spontaneity is hindered. Maybe that's a better way to put it.
You know what? I'm falling for you, okay? I'm falling for you. I like you a lot. I'd be lying if I didn't tell you that, yeah, part of me is definitely falling for you, and I can see myself getting there with you. And I think I would regret like not telling you that.
You're very courageous for speaking your truth.
Oh, boy. I mean, I'm just reacting as a citizen to the awkwardness of the situation. I don't know where this is headed, Matt, but it doesn't look good.
I hate putting myself out. I put myself out there and I get over.
So there's that narrative. I put myself out there and I get effed over.
I think guys don't care about me.
More of that narrative. Guys don't care about me. Many of you out there probably have felt that before. You've had that kind of statement run through your mind. I'm here to tell you that can't possibly be true. Might some people have betrayed you in the past? Absolutely. But most people are good, and most people do care. And snafus or mistakes or miscommunication or lack of ownership of feelings or defenses, that's what gets in the way. That's what's screwing you over, Rudi, is the two of your defenses. That's what's getting in the way, not the true affection that the two of you had. You want to say love, he wants to say like. They're both affection. It's both attraction to each other. It's the defenses that are getting in the way.
Or do you need more? Ain't it hard keeping this so hardcore?
I really like her voice. I like her choices. It gives me chills hearing her sing. She's got she's got something special.
If I can't help falling in love with you.
So you know me, I like classic singing, simple singing, beautiful singing. They sound great together. I always like it when people sing like their personality, and I'm not quite sure about Brie, possibly for her, but definitely for Chris. He sings like his personality. He's a mellow guy. He's a simple guy. He's not interested in all the frills and silliness of the world, or at least it seems that way to me. And he sings that way too. That's when you know that people are authentic to who they are as a singer. It comes from the heart. It's just how they sing. That's all the great singers. That's how it is for them. It's just like from the body comes the music. Hope you know what I mean. Gets me a little teary. I cry at lots of things, including stuff like this. The producers should pat themselves on the back, at the very least, for this relationship. Please, God, do not have this relationship go down the tubes in the last episode.
I don't want to push too far. Just a shine in the dark, but she just might be the one I've been waiting for my whole life.
So this is an interesting song choice. I don't know if it's the best song. Wow, amazing. She is the perfect singer for this song. She's got a really strong alto voice, which is, I think it's alto, right? Sounds alto to me. Better than Lady Gaga, perhaps. Just fantastic. I want to rewind that a little bit. That sounded amazing. So he doesn't even need to be on the stage. Matt seems like a nice enough guy, but it's like, oh yeah, there's another singer. I mean, she's electric. She just sounds fantastic. Yeah, it makes sense that they would get booted. I think they were just doomed by the song choice. Well, that does it for that episode of Psychology in Seattle. Join me next time when we continue with The Bachelor, Listen to Your Heart. And I think it'll be the finals, so we'll see the end result of this whole thing. Please, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.